All right.
What's up, everybody? This is John Neighbors.
Coming to you live from the Natty State Sports studios. Oh, man. Well, fellas, here we are, doing a live stream and talking about what basically was inevitable and what we all already knew, that Eric Musselman is departing the University of Arkansas for the University of Southern California. The Eric Musselman tenure has officially, at least pretty much, come to an end in Fayetteville.
Yeah, I mean, waiting on an official announcement from the school, and even Matt Norlander over at CBS Sports said the deal's not done yet, but it's happening. Everybody's putting it out there. It's just putting ink to paper, I think, at this point. So
yeah, see, here it is on CBS Sports Network
there
right
you go.
now.
Speaking of Matt Norlander, there he is. The man who called the downfall of Arkansas basketball at the beginning of the season.
He did not realize what he was cooking. Dude.
He was really hyping him up at number 47 in the preseason.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was a little high on Arkansas, honestly. So
yeah. I mean, I know we're going to have a lot of things to discuss here, guys, about this.
Get in the chat, people.
Yeah, get in the chat. And
it's good to see some of our heavy hitters already out and about. Good to see Leslie out here.
Yeah.
Dalton's Motorsports Classic.
Yep, we can do all that too. Oh, yeah, I got to get the coach's big board. Curtis will be bringing that over.
Good call.
Yeah, been waiting on it. But yeah, as we've been reporting for weeks, that this was inevitable. That this was.
We were completely caught off guard by this announcement, as you can see.
Stunning stuff to happen. But I know we'll talk about candidates and where they go from here. And I know the names are pretty obvious to a lot of us. But let's just go around, and I'll start with you, Curtis. Just now that it seems to be done, now that it's there, it's over. We can actually get into it instead of waiting and seeing. Just your reaction. How did we get to this point?
Well, I mean, this has been it's just been a matter of time, honestly. I mean, we could have really been here this time a year ago had Rodney Terry not won his way into the Texas job. I mean, there's been opportunities out there that Muss has pursued or been interested in that accelerated this year. I mean, this is not new. I mean, people have heard the rumors about Louisville and every other job that's kind of come open, like dating back to when, like January or early February. Yeah. So I do think that, we've always said something out on the West Coast would be the most, I don't know, scary or appealing or whatever you want to say in terms of Muss leaving, and the dominoes fell just the right way. And honestly, like we said on the pod at the Palace the other day, Scotty, like after the Hunter Yurachek stuff, not even just the Muss Bus video, although that was really strange. I think we were kind of seeing why he might have done that, but to double down on the podcast and just kind of air out the dirty laundry the way he did, there was no coming back from this, I don't think, or it would have been really, really freaking awkward. I hate it in a way because I think Muss did a hell of a job here. I mean, that 3-year run of Elite Eights and Sweet 16s was awesome and great to cover, and Muss was loved. I mean, he was engaging, and he's a little bit crazy and quirky, but he was also the type of engaging and crazy and quirky that the Arkansas fan base was. Yeah. And so it was a really good match there, but it sucks that things got sour at the end. I don't blame Razorback fans who are pissed off about it. Because I don't think that this was handled well. Honestly, I don't think it was handled particularly well by the university, and I don't think it was handled well in terms of just kind of the weird silence, from us while his name was getting floated out there for all these jobs, and clearly he was looking to get out. So,
I just felt like the writing was on the wall for a bit, and like you mentioned. If Eric were to come back, like what an awkward situation to find yourself walking back into. And like that, you just can't operate with the toxic work environment or a very like a passive aggressive type work environment. I'm going to bring up the Intern podcast here for just a second. I'll listen to it. It's going to premiere tomorrow.
Okay.
Intern Landon made a good point, I thought, where he was like, what happened to the days of like a guy walking into another guy's office and talking about things and like maybe trying to work things out, get on the same page type of deal. But it seemed all kinds of passive aggressive in the last, few weeks, and Eric's name obviously was like, we were hearing about his name being connected to jobs when we were in Nashville at the SEC tournament, and it's been a long, drawn out process, and I'm just kind of, honestly, I hate that Eric is leaving. He was always really, really good to me, probably better than he had to be to me. And I'll honestly, I'll miss covering him to an extent. But I'm glad we've kind of finally reached a finality in this whole situation.
Yeah, it's been weird.
I said to y'all the other day when we were at a local establishment, I just said, like, at this point, I guess this was 2 days ago, I was like, it's just hard for me to imagine him doing a press conference as the head coach at Arkansas again. Like, just given how weird we've been through a lot, with since Arkansas and Eric Musselman these last few years, but this felt a little bit different. And I think, I'll start by saying that none of us on this panel here were naive enough to think Eric Musselman was going to die a Razorback, or that, like, not that he didn't have any interest in doing that, but it's just not. He didn't seem like the type of guy who wanted to just stick around forever at one place. He's the type of guy, he got to where he was by always looking for that next challenge. So it felt like him and Arkansas were never going to be a long-term forever fit. I don't know if I expected it to go this way, but we talk about all the things he's been floated and connected to in the past. It was rare. Like, it wasn't like Matt Norlander and John Rothstein were reporting about him in DePaul. They were reporting even about him in Louisville. Those were more just, they felt like just rumors. And a lot of it was probably, not out of nowhere. But this, you could tell whenever On3 reported that he was interviewing for the job, which, I don't know if it reported up being accurate in terms of him being in LA or whatever. But once the big people started talking about this, you kind of felt like, oh, this isn't your run of the mill coaching rumor that we're all just kind of throwing around. Who knows? Who knows if we'll ever get the real story of how heavily Muss wanted out of Arkansas, what happened this offseason, what it's been like these last few weeks. But I think we all kind of felt something was coming. And it sucks that the era is going to end this way. But I also don't think this was the most stunning outcome that could have happened.
No, I think that because I agree with everything you guys said too, because we've known about this for a while, and I think everybody has known about this for a while. I think that the disappointing thing is there's so many things about coaching searches that we don't always know or don't hear about, and a lot of times that's for good, and a lot of times it's for bad. But the unfortunate thing about all of this is that, I'm appreciative of Eric Musselman, like what he did for Razorback basketball, taking it to where it needed to be, and having the success in the postseason, and of course the great way he treated us and treated us in the media. But the unfortunate thing is that if it would have been just the USC job opened, he went to USC, and that was it, I think it would make a lot more sense for people and a lot more sense for Razorback fans. But the problem is that because of the other things that he was connected to, it started to become pretty evident to everybody that it wasn't necessarily just about the USC job, is that he wanted out of Arkansas.
Yeah.
And I think that is the sad part about it, because again, if he just jumps to USC, we all felt that he was not a long-term deal here. And we all felt that there was going to be a job on that West Coast that was going to open up at some point, and he was going to jump to it, and it was going to be sad, but it would make sense. And if that was just the case, it'd be one thing. But the fact that now there's going to be a bad taste in a lot of Razorback fans' mouth just because they're like, it wasn't that he just jumped to USC. He was jumping anywhere but here. And Razorback fans and just fans of any fan base, that's not something they ever want to deal with, ever want to hear from a coach that they really loved and gave a lot to and appreciated. But that's the reality that they're in now.
Yeah, it's bizarre the way some of this stuff works. Is a lot of what I've been hearing about how this has all kind of gone down the last few days is eerily similar to a lot of the things I heard about how it went down when he left Nevada for Arkansas. Like, there was just a lot of uncertainty in that building about what's going on. I think nobody's an idiot. Like, I think they knew where this was going, but I mean, as of like lunchtime today, like a couple hours ago, I had people in that basketball office on campus telling me, we don't really know for sure what's going on here. Like, we're in limbo. But there were other people on that staff who obviously, knew exactly what was going on and will probably be headed to LA. So it's that's really weird, man. So I would hate to be in that position. I mean, we felt weird being in limbo of kind of knowing, all right, this is coming, but when is it going to happen? When is it going to be official? You don't want to jump the gun because Muss is a wild card, man. And it's almost even a little weird talking about it right now when you got certain people saying, well, it's it's done, it's happening, but it's got to be finalized or whatever, because it could still blow up at any point. I mean, obviously, I think we're past that, but that was kind of the thing you wondered about the entire time, because I think he's been farther along in some of these, in considerations for some of these other jobs than people let on, and it's kind of blown up for different reasons. It just hasn't in this case, but yeah, man, it's just a weird deal, and it's been weird for the better part of a year now. I mean, the entire season. I'm not gonna go back in hindsight and try to pinpoint like, oh, Arkansas stunk this year because Muss had 1 foot out the door or whatever. But there was certainly a difference there, and I wouldn't go as far as to say that that's the only reason, but I bet it contributed to some of what was going on. I had people telling me that there were guys on the team who were telling, like, transfers on the team who were telling, like, teammates from their previous schools, like, oh yeah, like Muss is out of here, we already know, like, during the year.
Man.
So it's not like they were, immune to that or not aware of it. And I don't know if that factored into them not coming together as a team or whatever. There was plenty of dysfunction, but, little strange.
The Hunter Yurachek aspect of this, I don't know if
we can talk about where we stand on that now.
Let's talk about it. And I don't know if anybody will ever really know the definitive truth of what was going through that dude's head. I've seen a lot of Arkansas fans do the thing where they're like, oh, see, he put out that video last week. It was a shot at Muss. He was 3 steps ahead. He knew what was going on. That seems like a very optimistic lens to view that through. I think from the outside looking in, as someone who we know, like I said, we don't know for sure. It just feels like he kind of botched this thing. And if nothing else, his relationship with Eric Musselman was just tarnished to the point. I mean, these last couple of weeks or whatever, it just like the reason I was saying the other day, like you just couldn't imagine him just coming back and waltzing in and everything being fine. You could tell there was a fracture there that seemed pretty big. I mean, when these coaches are out here doing, when I say these coaches, I mean just Hunter Yurachek is out here doing podcast interviews, almost like daring Muss to leave. It felt like it was a very bizarre thing. If y'all think that he had like a master plan, like maybe, and hey, who knows? Maybe in 24 hours we're gonna have another announcement. We're gonna be doing another one of these live streams. Maybe you can make that argument then, but as of right now, it just is very bizarre how it played out, and his role in this in particular is very puzzling to me.
I know I've said this before, and Scotty can vouch for this, but the picture that I will forever have ingrained in my mind was we were in Nashville for the SEC tournament just 3 weeks ago today, I guess, and Arkansas wins that game against Vanderbilt in overtime, and we're waiting for Muss to get off the SEC network set so he can go to the podium and we can go into the locker room and talk to the guys. And Muss comes around the curtain and Yurachek is standing there, and they give each other like the dap it up, like bro hug, like let's go, like fired up in that moment. And we had been hearing all this stuff, about Louisville, and even that day everybody's walking around talking about Washington.
Yeah.
And so we were wondering what was going on, and then we saw that between the two of them, and me and Scotty look at each other like, well, what the heck is this? And so for it to go from that, and then listen, they're both competitive guys, whether they're seeing eye to eye, they want to win and they want the program to succeed. But like to get to the point where you've got, basically trolling videos going out there and the whole podcast thing, like I couldn't imagine being an employee and hearing my boss saying, yeah, like there's no raise, there's no extension. He's here today. He might be gone tomorrow. But I think that was a crazy move by Yurachek, but there's a reason he got to that point, right? Like, and I think that's kind of what you were alluding to, Andrew. Like, there was just a boiling point there, and kind of a point of no return, and now here we are.
Similar, when the whole Devo thing was coming out, I was like, look, I don't care what the story is, but I'd love for Devo to tell that story. I'm not saying Hunter Yurachek needs to come do a podcast with us and tell the story, but like, leaving Arkansas fans in the dark is, I would love to have him on. Yeah, apparently he does podcast interviews with whoever. I would love to hear like his side of the story of just like, hey, guy didn't want to. If he comes out and is just like, hey, guy didn't want to be here, let's move on or whatever. I'm sure a lot of Hog fans can get behind that, but I'm just not convinced that's what was going on. And that specifically when he sent that video last week, I don't think in that moment he was like, oh yeah, Eric is definitely gone, and this is my way of trolling him. I think he truly was trying to troll fans who thought he was going to take that SMU job, and then he didn't. And then now in hindsight, that's the stupidest video you could have put out.
Maybe so. Yeah, it's just it's surreal that that all that even happened and that we're here
Yeah.
kind of to this point now, man. It's
That's what I feel like. It's like, I always bring it up, but 4 or 5 months ago, I mean, before we started Natty State Sports, I mean, this is not even a scenario I even contemplated.
we thought
You know?
we thought the business might be taking off because we'd be in
Yeah.
Phoenix right now for the Final Four.
Yeah, yeah. Like we'd be hanging out with, putting back beers with Goodman.
That's,
like
literally,
it's
that's
like,
literally what we were talking about back in early or late October,
Yeah.
early November. But like just us four doing that, stream from our previous jobs, obviously. And I never thought that we would be here, with like literally like here all sitting together with this behind us, with this board.
I knew it, and
Talking
I've been
about-
reporting it for weeks actually.
yeah. Like I said, yeah. I mean, we've all been reporting for weeks now.
How do we feel
Top of it.
about Arkansas basketball going and playing at a tournament in San Diego in November without us?
Doesn't have the same luster anymore. Suddenly, I don't care as much
Holy
about San
cow,
Diego.
dude.
They'll probably keep it because the next head coach will probably like, California and the sun and all that stuff.
Heck yeah.
By the
I'm
way,
still looking forward to that trip.
if I can take my like objective, my professional, my journalistic integrity hat off for a second and look at this from just an Arkansas fan perspective, Eric Musselman's got to be public enemy number one. Now, I seriously, in the back of my heart, I don't really have any like animosity towards the guy because, again, we had a lot of fun times with Eric Musselman, won a lot of games with Arkansas, brought a lot of fun memories, brought a lot of juice back to the program, and I acknowledge that. And I also don't have a real issue with someone wanting to be closer to home, wanting a new start, not liking his boss, like all these different things. But man, I feel like if you're a Hog fan, you should feel rubbed the wrong way by the way this whole thing played out. Like that sucks that the guy who you kind of got all in and got behind, that it ends in this way.
Yep.
And look, I don't know what Eric Musselman is going to say in terms of a statement of like I don't know if he'll put out one of those Chad Morris thank you notes that,
The one
that
that
he
Chad
forgot to
didn't
hit
do?
send
The
on.
notes app.
And I don't think he's overly concerned with that, but I think it's, if you're a Hog fan, man, like, yeah, that's just gotta suck that like this dude, I mean, literally in the last week, we had people telling us that we were crazy and making up stuff. They were accusing Curtis and John of being doomsday guys because they were like, Eric Musselman loves being a Hog. He would never leave. Like they truly in their hearts believed this 3 days ago. So it's like, it sucks if you're a Hog fan who just kind of, he's a casual fan, isn't really keeping up with the craziness that's going on. And you're just like, why is our basketball coach dying to go to a bad program instead of be our coach? Like, what the heck? I could see how it's kind of crazy, but looking at it from the perspective we do, it's less surprising than it probably should have been.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's a weird thing that now, like we said here, I'm not trying to make a comparison, but I remember when like Frank Martin went from Kansas State to South Carolina, and I was like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But this is even to another level where it's like that Kansas State's not like this like basketball program on the same level of Arkansas. Like Arkansas is to me still a top 15, top 20 job in college basketball, and to have a coach leave, this is another thing too, guys. This is the first coach that like left Arkansas on their own to a different job where it wasn't the fans wanting him out or the like he had something happen off the field. Because you think about it, Eddie Sutton went to Kentucky, and that was probably the best example of it. He said, I crawled to that job, but nobody else in the history of this program has left Arkansas.
Also, yeah, that's a pretty big exception, Eddie Sutton.
Well, yeah, but still, it's like, but so with
Other
that-
than Eddie Sutton.
yeah, but at least with him though, it was like you could tell that it was a relationship that got like put together and that it blew up. So like this is the first time where again, it just happened so fast.
Yeah.
It's like 5 months ago, Musk could have ran for governor and won.
Yeah.
And then here we are, where I mean, half, if not over half of our chats, like good riddance. It's insane how fast this thing has gone and how quickly we come to this point of, well, it's plane tracking. It's a coaching search for men's basketball, the sport besides maybe baseball that seemed to be the most stable in the job for a coach to
Sam
be in
Pittman
there.
outlived Eric Musselman.
Just
at
like we all
Arkansas.
predicted.
How about that? Hell, Sam Pittman might end up outliving Hunter Yurachek at this rate. Sheesh.
Outlived Mike Neighbors, outlived, I mean, so much. It's like, it's craziness. It's absolutely craziness. And so now it becomes the biggest thing, and I'll phrase it this way. Does the new Razorback men's head basketball coach attend the Razorback baseball game this weekend?
No. One, because I mean, like,
I'm just saying.
What is today?
Today's Thursday.
Thursday?
So Saturday.
Chris
Do
Beard
you
throwing
think
out the
that
first pitch
yes,
at that
Chris
game?
Beard throwing out the first pitch.
Dude, that would be. I mean, people have talked about that joking. That would be one of the funniest things that's ever happened. In like, Chris Beard is one of those dudes who would probably do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Lane Kiffin, as I feel like is in that category too, also an Ole Miss coach, or like he would like doing something like that. But that's cold blooded, man. I don't know. If it weren't Chris Beard, I could be like, if they hired Will Wade tonight, I could see Will Wade throwing a first pitch Saturday, but Chris Beard throwing a first pitch at the Arkansas Ole Miss game, that would be unreal.
I don't think you do him like that.
I don't think you would too, because I don't think Chris Beard has any like animosity towards Ole Miss. You know what I mean? Like I don't think he'd want to like rub it in their face like that. But man, that's a tough one.
But
Muss's Twitter bio has already changed.
I mean,
So he does know how to do it.
No,
bio
he's
is
never
gone,
logged in.
there's
He's
no
never
header,
logged into
there's
anything.
nothing. It's
Still got a cardinal
looks like
red
it-
background though.
It looks like it's got the USC
Yeah.
gold ring around it.
oh man. Well, I mean, guys, is it Chris Beard? I mean, is that?
That's got to be the top name, right? Like that's got to be the one. You got to make that guy say no
Absolutely.
first, right?
Yeah.
I would think so.
Yeah,
I mean, look,
listen.
look behind. Or go ahead, Curtis.
Well, yeah, I mean, the board's behind us. It's also live on the site now, but you're going to hear monster names right out of the gates. I mean, you're going to hear Jay Wright, and you're going to hear Billy Donovan, and you're going to hear Scott Drew and Kelvin Sampson and everything else. And hey, if something comes to that, that's freaking awesome, right? You better get your money up though, if that's going to be the case. But Chris Beard, Jerome Tang, Will Wade have been the three names consistently now since February. And that hasn't changed. I think Beard's the top target. I think, like you said, you make him say no. I don't know if you would say no. I think there's definitely some interest there mutually. But if you get him, that's fantastic. And if not, you move on down the list.
Who's second? I think I've talked myself into Will Wade second.
I've talked myself
Yeah.
into Will Wade second too, and the reason why is because it is April the 4th, and the portal is open for less than a month, and you have 3 scholarship guys on your roster, and I would be shocked if all 3 of them stayed after this news. You have to build an entire damn team. They move in and start summer practices at the end of May. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So who is going to be able to accumulate the most talent in short order? I think it's Will Wade.
Yeah.
I think American Gangster Will Wade is the guy who could do that. Now, who could build a winner right away? Like Chris Beard he's a guy who can do more with less because it's a team game. They play defense. They're gritty.
He
They will
just
coach.
won like 19 games with Ole Miss.
Yeah, he had a
had-
20-win season with Ole Miss.
He
That's right.
had Ole Miss in the top 25 for 4 weeks when that program had been in the top 25 for 4 weeks total since the 2009-2010 season. Like this dude can put a roster together. Our guy Kurt, it's today his first day.
I guess fully.
Technically, yeah.
it's first day.
He said
I'm not going to get used to this.
He
Okay.
said earlier
Kurt with a
today. He said earlier today was like, I want a basketball coach and not a pastor. So you want to get a guy that'll be there for you, like from a recruiting standpoint, and then obviously like Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever you're playing games, and then Saturday. You don't need like a Sunday guy. So,
Yeah,
you
Beard
need a guy that'll
and
fulfill the
Wade
roster.
will not be getting ordained anytime soon.
No.
I do not think.
Let me say this. A vast majority of the smoke that's been coming to my phone for the past week, and especially in the past hour here, is Chris Beard.
Yep.
I mean,
So-
Brandon Marcello tweeted out the beard emoji.
Yeah, and the only thing that gives you pause, right, is that when the hell has it ever been that simple?
No, it's not.
For
Yeah,
Arkansas
no,
or for anyone.
Well, you remember what I kept saying about Louisville, where I was like, Muss ain't going to Louisville, dude, because that's the first name that's the
Yeah.
first school that got brought up. Like, it ain't gonna be Louisville. Now you can argue about Chris Beard being the first name that's been brought up today, but over the grand scheme, was he the first name that was brought up like every time? I mean, maybe for us. Because it's not like
Yeah.
today was the
Yeah.
first day we started
Yeah.
speculating on
It was
Arkansas
for the
head coach.
longest. It was Beard and Tang, Beard and Tang,
Yeah.
Beard and Tang.
Tang is definitely like,
Which is why they're the picture on our hot board together. But yeah, I mean, Will Wade has been picking up steam, and I think that
I can
helps. when
change
you-
that pick if you want.
No, I like it. When you win 30 games, at McNeese or whatever, and do what he did, then that's pretty impressive. But yeah, I mean, I just unless Hunter Yurchek is doing this thing where he is like the ultimate 4D chess player, and he's got something crazy up his sleeve, then Beard's got to be the number one target. I think that's your best shot at landing a home run higher. And if it fails, then you take it from there.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up with Juracek. Is like with all the stuff that's surrounding him, and I know you guys have seen it, and from our listeners and watchers of people being like, Juracek needs to be right behind him, and people were so upset. But I'm like, this could end up being the ultimate suicide squeeze by Hunter Juracek, where it's going to be either.
He's given a lot of credit for something that I don't know he deserves.
Well,
that much credit
I don't
for.
know if he does or not, but the thing is, it's the perception. The perception's the key to everything.
Sure.
And the perception would be, oh, yes, and he'd own it. If he hired Chris Beard, he'd be like, yeah, I do it all the time. And even if it wasn't true. But to Razorback fans, that would be really the one redeeming thing about all this for Juracek is him bringing in Chris Beard. And I agree. I'm not saying he's the only coach that anybody will be excited about and that can only be the one that wins. But that's the type of coaching hire that if he does that and he does it quickly, especially like in the next 48 hours has a coach named and it's Beard and he's coming in, suddenly people are like, okay, Juracek, you obviously know what you're doing when it comes to hiring basketball coaches, so we're going to trust you. And I think that's, but if it goes the way that it normally does, where it's Beard, man, well actually we'll wait, but that falls through, and maybe and they end up with Josh Pastner.
Hey, come on now.
So if they do that, then it's gonna be a big egg in the face on Juracek, and it's gonna make
forgot to include him on the hot board.
Hog fans, are y'all ready to get buzzed up?
Yeah, so I was gonna say when you say they don't need a pastor, I was like, you mean they need a coach, not a pastor? I was like, Pastner,
Need a
coach or a
pastor, not a pastor.
Yeah, don't need some of those, but yeah, I don't know, man. I think that this is eventually going to be the most pivotal thing of like, can Arkansas have a coaching search that does not become clown shoes?
Yeah.
And like, can that actually?
Hey, Hog Keeler, you think? You think?
Must be USC is a downgraded program.
Yeah, no, it absolutely
Yeah.
is. I mean, listen, that's a destination job, but it's not a great job,
No.
right? I mean, they'll have like 3,000 people in that gym, and
You don't
and
respect OJ Mayo?
No,
Who else went there? Nick Young, Swaggy P? You don't
I do respect him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for Swaggy P, but Eric Musselman is a great hire for USC.
100%.
I wouldn't have to get
Yeah.
it twisted on that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an awesome
He'd be a
hire.
great hire for Arkansas right now.
And he'll have those dudes in the tournament, probably next year.
From what I can see, looking at USC's history on KenPom, they've got 3 trips to the second weekend this century. Eric literally did that in back-to-back years. So for them, it's like,
So USC
it's a
is
freaking knockout.
Yeah. They officially put a.
Yeah.
Yep, there it
USC
is.
Basketball account.
So now,
That means pen has touched paper.
man,
God, this
seeing him.
wild, dude.
It is kind of surreal. Like even
Yeah,
something that
it really
we've all,
is.
I mean, literally, guys, y'all should have seen The Office today. We were literally just sitting around waiting for this to happen. We're like sitting
know.
here waiting.
My
but it's-
last interaction with Eric Musselman, he gave me a fist bump. Said thanks for
My
being
last
here.
interaction with him was right after he gave you the fist bump. I had mine out and he walked by me.
I had a lot limited. a lot more,
Other than the text message.
So you're
that
the
went
reason why.
unreturned.
Yeah.
That's tough.
I had a lot less interactions with him than y'all, but I don't think I ever had a bad interaction one-on-one or in any situation with Eric Musselman. So I lost a good friend today.
Hey,
Well,
the last interaction I had was the Halloween party.
yeah.
I didn't even get to go to any games and see him in person and say anything.
Was he at the Halloween party? He was there?
Yeah, he was there. It was his house. I hope he was there.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Musselman is not, he's not made for everyone. And I think that's why
Yeah.
you see a lot of turnover on his coaching staffs and, with his rosters. And we know that there's been some relationships, important relationships that have been damaged, since he has been in Fayetteville. But I said it once, I'll say it a million times. Like, I always had a great relationship with Muss.
Me too,
And,
yeah.
and he's been great to me. And there are guys on that coaching staff who are probably going to be going with him that I consider friends, so that kind of stinks. But I think the first thing you have to think about, well, like, how quick are you going to make this hire? Like, it could be, if you think about it from the standpoint of like Juracek doing things that he's done publicly on social media, he's got to have an ace up his sleeve. You would like to think that. So from that standpoint, it would almost be like, okay, we've got the sting of our coach leaving for a lesser job, whatever. We want to make a splash quick. So it could be tomorrow. It could be tonight. It could be the next day. I don't know. But if it's going to take a little bit, you got to have somebody to hold down the fort.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder who those people are going to be. And like the first name that comes to my mind is Ronnie Brewer Jr. I mean, maybe he'd pack up and leave for SoCal. I highly, highly doubt
You think
that.
he might be an assistant coach at Fresno State next year?
I mean, he's got a conglomerate going with Big Chicken right now.
Yeah,
You know,
can't leave that hanging.
but no, in all seriousness, like I would have him taking care of operations because like there's still the day-to-day stuff that has to go on, and there's also like you're still making calls to recruits and everything else. I mean, that's still part of it. And talking to some of these other guys, I would anticipate that he sticks around. And then whoever they hire, whether it's Chris Beard or anybody else, if you don't keep him on staff, you're an idiot. Because that's your in-state recruiting right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You've got to have him on staff. And I would go all in to keep Riley
Absolutely.
Riley.
Yeah, I would.
because he doesn't get enough credit for the work he does behind the scenes, but Riley Hall is like, he's the damn brains behind the operations of everything that goes on over there. And those would be two guys right off the top that I would really try to keep.
short. Bro.
Well, I got a question for y'all, and because this is something I feel like is, an obvious thing, but like the Josh Cohen commitment and everything, was that showing that they were putting in extra and a lot of work to get him to Arkansas, or was it more of, they were just getting him on board and then he's going to commit to USC now? Like I was just always I'm fascinated by that element of, what was it, a week ago, roughly? Less than a week ago that he
it's like
committed?
Friday, right?
Yeah.
Well-
and I don't know. It's just, that's a weird thing to me too.
The Eric Musselman to USC thing, like he was always going to be interested in and pursue that job. And the question had been, well, when is it going to come open? And then how interested are they going to be in him? Right. And so like the SMU smoke, it blew over, whatever. And even after that Must Bus video came out, like there was a point in time where, I was having conversations with people over there in the building, and it was, like this week has been weird. It's been uncomfortable, but we're turning the page and like we're all in on recruiting now. And so like it's one thing to tell me that, and it's one thing for it to actually happen. But then when you get Cohen on board, that comes across as a statement of like, all right, here we are, here to stay. Yeah. And my understanding is that they spent the entire last weekend, recruiting, doing Zooms in the office, from sun up until sundown. And then things started to taper off early in the week. And then we had Yurichek's podcast or whatever on Monday. And then it was just almost like going through the motions and becoming increasingly weird. And now here we are. And so with Cohen, I mean, when we talked to him, Scotty and I at the Graduate, his thing was, I mean, he was even asked, like, if you committed to Arkansas, why? Like, what would be the reason? He was like, Muss, hands down, Coach Muss. So I could see that. I could also see him kind of circling back to Notre Dame, which he was very high on, and he visited right after Arkansas. I would be surprised if he just kept his commitment to Arkansas. Maybe he'll hear out the new coach. I don't know. I haven't reached out to him just yet.
He bleeds Razorback red curves.
But,
all these guys do.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to put words into a kid's mouth. You know what I mean? So he obviously liked what he saw here enough to commit, but I would anticipate he'd probably, at the very least, re-explore his options. So
the benefit of not having a bunch of transfer guys already locked down is, you can only lose one.
Yeah, that's true.
You can only lose one incoming transfer.
That's a really good point. So
yeah, it's. I know we got people in the chat, and people are, giving all their thoughts on everything and how things have gone and how it got to this point. But Bayfall did enter into the portal today. Big news.
Yeah,
another
huge news.
devastating blow.
Shocking. You still got 3 players still technically on the roster right now with Mark and Battle in Brazil.
And the fall thing would have happened regardless.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah, that was because, oh man, Must is gone. Oh yeah, I think it was. I think that was going to happen no matter what. But it's a matter of, okay, so now whoever the new coach is coming in makes you wonder, are they like? There's a great possibility, kind of what we all thought. But I mean, you're going to probably have 13 new players on this team next year. I mean, everybody's going to be new coaching staff. It is going to be completely and totally different. So whoever the coach is, hopefully it moves quickly. Hopefully he gets hired quickly, and hopefully he gets into that portal, man, starts making some moves, because Arkansas, every time is precious when it comes to building this team, and you got to get on it like right now, quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Here's my question.
Real fast.
Okay.
What do y'all think this does for like the 3 guys that are still on the roster? Anything?
That's a really good question, man. I think that I would be surprised if they don't at least explore their options. Like that's kind of the way it usually works, right? Like a coach leaves and guys will either hear the new coach out and then hit the portal, or they'll hit the portal with like the option of coming back. But I think it would be almost, I don't know, silly of T Mark and Brazil and Caleb Battle at this point to not at least explore their options. And like, listen, how many universities do we think have already reached out to those dudes in the last hour?
Ooh.
Back channeling, saying, "Hey, we got this bag for you." So that's just gonna happen.
Caleb didn't mention that on his Instagram live this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he did. What do you say? What those numbers like?
Yeah.
So,
Get
I
your
mean,
money up, not your funny up.
yeah, I mean, there's that part of it, but I think it also depends on who it is. If there's any previous relationships there, I think Tremont Mark would be a great Chris Beard player. I think he'd be an awesome Chris Beard player.
Yeah.
Caleb Battle, I don't know. I'd love to have him. They've got the same amount of dog in them, but that there might be some butting of heads there. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Let me ask you this question though.
Go ahead, buddy.
If Chris Beard were to say no and just stay at Ole Miss, why would he be doing that? Like, what would his reasoning be to being like, the Arkansas job just isn't right for me. I'm just going to stick it out at Ole Miss for
NIL situation?
could be NIL situation. Although, listen, that's been a big topic of conversation lately, and rightfully so. I don't think it's as bad as some people let on, but I also don't think it's as good as it needs to be if you want to be a consistent contender.
Sure.
My understanding, though, with a guy like Chris Beard, NIL ain't gonna be an issue.
Yeah.
If you get him on board, and a lot of that is because of the people in Central Arkansas who
know him.
have a lot of power in their pockets. So there's that part of it, and then outside of that, man, like if he has a conscience, and he's just like, oh, like I was kicked to the curb and Ole Miss took a shot on me, but at the same time, like
We're taking a shot on you, buddy.
Yeah.
it's not, and again,
Just a few hours.
I'm
away.
not trying to take any shots at Ole Miss because they beat the hell out of Arkansas this year, and they had a better season. But it's just a better job.
Yeah,
Man.
way
It
better.
just is.
Yeah.
So
By the way, Danielle Musselman has posted on Instagram.
Yeah,
officially.
that's what I was going to read.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead.
So
Okay.
I was,
Go ahead.
I was saying that she said, so hard to say goodbye. We came to Arkansas 5 years ago not knowing what to expect. We leave here with lifelong friends and too many incredible memories to count. I will miss so many things about this state and will forever be thankful for the opportunity to be a part of the Razorback family. I hope I had a small impact on this community during my time here. I know the community definitely had an impact on me. Love you guys, Danielle. So
Farewell, Danielle.
Is yeah. She just posted various pictures of her and her family wearing Razorback gear and celebrating wins.
Has
and
Kimberly made a statement yet?
I've not. No,
Danielle was she was really like the first lady of the state.
She was.
She was
awesome,
out and
man.
about, yeah.
Yeah, she did a great job, and she was out in the community and everything. So she's definitely going to be missed. I thought that she really made an impact.
How many people the people that were like kind of denying any of this was going on would reference Danielle, which obviously wasn't like a real point to make, but a lot of people that were like, oh, but I mean, they're not going to leave because Danielle, I saw her the other day at this. I saw her the other day at this.
Oh, she was working out. She was at Pizzeria
She was
Rubio.
friends with
Just all over
everybody,
the place.
and she really, like you said, was the first lady of Arkansas. I, have nothing but good things to say about Danielle Musselman.
No, that's what I guess it was during COVID, and we were just trying to, in my last job, trying to, figure out what we were going to do content wise. So we decided to do a series on, kind of like how I was hired. And I talked to Danielle for that story, and she said that she was at the gym when she found out that Eric was taking the Arkansas job. And so yesterday when we saw that she was at the gym and he's being rumored to take the USC job, I'm like, man, these are lining up. It's just a bunch of parallels.
Yeah, that's it's kind of interesting, and there are a lot of parallels to how it went down from that.
He also
that time.
Muss also changed his header photo already too on Twitter. The USC hoops.
USC hoops.
USC hoops.
Dude,
So
I cannot wait. I don't hate Eric Musselman, but I cannot wait to hate watch USC basketball
That's gonna
next
be great.
year. I'm just gonna nitpick everything they have
Oh
going on.
well,
It's gonna be
absolutely.
great.
And I can't I'm a Muss guy, but it's hard not to be like
I know.
salty about it.
Yeah.
And coaches just don't leave Arkansas like that.
No.
Coaches just do not leave Arkansas like
Eric
that,
Musselman-
especially ones that are successful.
Eric Musselman is a really good basketball coach, and he brought a lot of awesome things to the Arkansas basketball program. But he wasn't a Razorback. And I don't have a problem with him not being a Razorback because it's like, he has no connection to this university, no connection to this state or whatever. But I feel like this offseason in particular, fans really caught wind of just like how much he views this like a business. And I think it really rubbed them the wrong way. It doesn't rub us as much as us as poorly as it did them. But I think you could tell though that like this wasn't like, his favorite. He didn't love being a Razor. It wasn't like something that really mattered that much to him.
Yes, and that's the thing that struck me the most about Yurchek putting out that podcast and that interview, because there's no way you can do the thing now of, well, now he's at a job back home and close to his mom, and he's coaching in the conference that his dad coached in, and
The Big Ten.
we hate to see you go, but we're gonna support you.
Almost like when
That's
You
really
can't do that now because
Pac-12.
it's very much like, no, he was trying to get the hell up out of here in the final. The opportunity finally came
If
up.
it were the UCLA job, it'd be a way different conversation because at least you could be like, UCLA,
But it's UCLA though.
big time job,
Yeah.
all this history. You can make an argument it's a better job than Arkansas and all that. USC, you really can't do that. This is a clear, I hated my boss and had to get out, and this is what I found. And you know what I mean? Like, it's not that cut and dry, but it's like there's a lot of that factor to it where you can't just, nobody can honestly say, hey, logistically, it made sense for him to take the USC job. Like, it really didn't, outside of just him being from the West Coast.
Yes or no, he's already been on the phone trying to get Bronny to stay.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. But
he's been texting Brian. It's fine.
Yeah,
A little texty text.
Yeah.
for sure.
back to your point, Andrew, though, too, it's like, it's not that you got cheated on by Eric Musselman. Eric Musselman broke up with you. It's like, it'd be one thing if he cheated on you.
He was ugly anyway.
Yeah,
I
because
hated
he's like, that's just a guy who's a serial cheater, guys, and how they do it. But it's like, no, he broke up with you and went somewhere else. Like, that's what it was. That's not you, it's me. No, it was you. It was you, Arkansas. I didn't want to be here anymore. And that's how people are going to view it.
I probably could have done without the Caleb Battle retweet of the USC announcement, but
Dude, that's
No.
tough.
I probably could have done without that one. You know what I mean?
That's tough, dude. But the good news is, guys, USC is going to bring in a 6'6" guard that can't shoot and is only a hypothetical defender, and we'll get to make fun of that.
How are we gonna react if Arkansas is making threes next year?
I won't know.
I'm not going to know how to do that.
What's that gonna feel
I
like?
haven't seen guys do that consistently since Eric's first season.
My math has only been on ones and twos lately. I don't know. I don't know how to do
Yeah.
three.
I'm just thinking,
I don't know
like, how
how that
many
works.
free throws would Arkansas have to attempt to get back within this, this lead here? This is, that's what it's all about FTAs,
Man,
I see a lot of Chris Beard or bust in the chat, which I can get behind that, but the or bust part, I don't know if I'm here for.
yeah, and I've seen a lot of people too say, like, we don't want Beard, we don't want Wade. I'm sure that's for like morality reasons.
They stand with women all around.
And fine, like I'm not the morality police, but like, who do you want?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, realistically,
That's it.
and that's not me being a smart ass. I'm legitimately asking people who are saying that, like, who do you want?
Yeah. Because
What would make you happy?
I think that's also something, just to be honest, that as soon as Arkansas starts winning, if I give his beard, that suddenly goes away. That suddenly starts getting talked about. That suddenly it's like, oh, yeah, sure. Because, whether it's right or wrong, it's true. Winning cures all. And winning, people will bypass things. Now, soon, if Beard comes in and has a 9-win season next year, everyone's going to, we should never hire this terrible human being. But, you want to win or not. And as I said it, call me a terrible human being, that's fine. But when has playing the morality game ever worked out for an athletic program?
I see Kelvin Sampson's name a few times.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd also
I
like
think that.
Jay Wright. It's like, I'd like the best coaches in the country
But
to be here.
did the Kelvin Sampson ship sell though?
I
Like
mean, yeah.
when they hired Muss 5 years ago? Because how many years does he really have left? And his son is the head coach in waiting at Houston,
Yeah.
and that's one of the best programs in the country. They've moved from whatever weird conference they were in to the Big 12 now. Like, I mean, sure. Like if he wants to restart.
Ross Steenbaum. Arkansas's Caleb Battle tells me that he plans to transfer.
Oh,
There you go.
Christ.
Caleb Battle is just chopping it up with John Rothstein.
I think we have a shell for that
We
story.
do. I'm about to get it out.
That's you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't find it now. I saw somebody say, "Oh, Mark Vesey says he wants Father McBuckets to be the head coach." Buzz Williams or Creighton's head coach.
Why would anyone want Buzz Williams? Like, I'm not saying he's a bad, horrible coach, but like, why would you say Eric Musselman? Nah, let's get Buzz Williams. Like, what has he done to make you want him to be the coach here?
Y'all want to rehash that? Could Eric Musselman win a fight against Buzz Williams combo real quick? Because y'all really gave me a lot of crap for that.
Not
And,
yet. I'm not there yet.
You're not there yet.
Not Buzz.
Once Buzz does the press conference and he's announced, maybe you'll be there.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see how he looks in
Maybe.
the suit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo, buddy.
Yeah. What, y'all don't like vests? Y'all don't like Buzz Williams? What are y'all talking about?
Okay, so Arkansas now has
2.
Trevin Brazil and Tremont Mark.
Two very reliable guys that you know are going to be back.
Who's the most likely between those two that comes back? If there's only going to be one.
I
If
would
it's
go-
Chris Beard, I'd say Mark. I don't think Trevin Brazil is a Chris Beard guy.
What coach would Arkansas have to hire for Trevin Brazil to be his guy?
Tang, Wade,
Tang.
either one of those guys. But I just think in terms of, and I'm not trying to knock TB, but those guys are very like tough, gritty, physical, you know. And Brazil, he's a finesse player. So I don't know. Maybe he would be. Maybe that Chris Beard is probably what Brazil needs.
If Trevin's first name were pronounced Trevon, you might see him in a Chris Beard system. But the fact that it's Trevin and it's like
So give me Trevon Spillers then.
There we go.
Now we're
there
talking.
you go.
Yeah, now we're talking. That's
Billy Donovan would be a splash hire.
Holy hell, man. It's a lot going on at once.
I mean,
Yeah, there's a lot going on today.
isn't that fun that like we've been sitting here with just our thumbs up our butts the entire day, and then all of a sudden, just in a matter of 30 minutes, just things just come crazy wild.
Yeah.
This guy says, "Do you think we have a shot at Tang?" I would
Yeah.
say, why would they not have a shot at Tang?
I think they absolutely
You could
have a
shoot
shot
for
at
the
Tang.
shoot for the moon, brother. You don't
And
have to
here's what I'll
shoot.
say about Tang. Like, I understand the jury's out on him. He's only been a head coach for 2 years. Went to an Elite Eight in his first year. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Last year, would they win like 19 games or something? They missed the tournament. They lost Naquan Tomlin. They lost Case Glover to injuries. Like, so 2 of their better players. Maybe they would have made it. Maybe they wouldn't have. I don't know how much. Like, the track record's just scary. But he's done a hell of a job recruiting the portal. We know that he's a stand-up guy. Like, I had somebody actually tell me that he might be like too good of a guy to handle this kind of job, like with the pressure that comes with it. And like the exact quote was actually, he might be too square, and I don't know if he has enough shit to him to handle the job. And I don't know. I mean, we can say that, but if you look at some of the dudes he snagged out of the portal, I mean, he got Arthur Kaluma and the little Tyler Perry out of there last year. He just got Doug McDaniel. Hey, he got Desi Sills. He got
Got good minutes out of Desi Sills, by the way.
yeah. He got the Keontae Johnson kid.
Yeah.
Who was the little dude that was so much fun?
Marquise Noel.
Marquise Noel.
Yeah.
I mean,
5'9".
that's pretty impressive. And he also, I get it, he was insistent, but he won a national championship with Baylor. You know,
Worth noting.
on that stat. So
Which the Baylor program has taken a noticeable step down since he's dipped out of there.
yeah, I mean, obviously. So like, I just think, I don't know. I don't want to insult the man by saying like I feel like they should be shooting higher than that, but
We got a Chris. Yeah, bro, y'all gotta up y'all's standards, bro. Y'all talking about Chris Collins, bro? What are y'all talking about?
Is that the guy at
It's the
Northwestern?
University of Arkansas, brother. Why?
I think people just like want to have a name that no one's really said. They don't really want them.
That's
They're
how
just
you
like,
end up with Chad Morris as your head coach.
Listen,
if you
if
start
you can-
throwing out, that's like your dream scenario.
Yeah.
If you can find another year for Boo Booey and convince him to move to Northwest Arkansas, then I'm
All right, all I can
might
say is
listen.
thank God that FAU bum already went to Michigan, so we don't have to pretend like he's a candidate. That guy stinks, dude.
I mean, I like Doug. I like McDermott too, but I don't know why. Like, why would he leave Creighton?
Yeah,
I don't know.
And I like Doug McDermott, or what is his Greg McDermott? What's his
Greg,
dad's
yeah.
name? I like him too, but yeah, that name was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think like if it was my personal, like I'd put T.J. Otzelberger at the top. He's got an $18 million
dude.
buyout.
Not
Arkansas
Mike
paid
White.
that.
Extremely not Mike White.
Arkansas couldn't even pay Sam Pittman's buyout. They're
Yeah,
going to pay $18 million for T.J. Otzelberger.
They didn't get Holden to turn down the DePaul job. Just backtrack on him.
Somebody say Mike White.
Yeah, we got a Mike White suggestion.
What about Todd Golden?
Wouldn't hate it. Wouldn't hate it at all. What's the
Analytics
Stanford
Mike
guy's
White
name?
might be tough. He's making an
Bucky.
NIT run.
Yeah, Bucky McMillan.
Yeah. I like Bucky.
Listen, I think Bucky McMillan is going to have a really nice job in about 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
He's just he's
some
got
seasoning.
Samford as a really, really fun mid-major team to watch with some players that you should keep an eye on. One of which is on our big board inside the recording studio. But he's had good success at Samford, but he's only made the tournament once. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
I mean, he's like
he just needs a couple more tournament runs probably, and then he's gonna have
he's
a
3 or 4 years removed.
Becky
He's 3 or 4 years removed from cutting down the nets at
at
high
Mountain
school.
Brook High School.
Yeah, you
Yeah, I
know.
like that people saying it's like, yeah, get Dana Altman. You know, have the redemption story coming back for Dana Altman or, you know, whoever. But,
I like Shaka Smart too. It's just like he killed it at VCU. He went to Texas,
Not
really,
great.
really struggled. Now he's in a less pressure. And the Big East is great basketball, but Marquette is a lower pressure situation, and he's thriving there.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
listen, they wouldn't got Shaka Smart, I'd be all over it. But I don't know that that's a guaranteed home run.
Yeah.
You know,
Bro, I got 3 names that I just saw that really caught my attention.
Kim
Okay.
Kim Mulkey, Don Staley, and Joe Johnson. These are some names, boy.
Has anybody said Corliss Williams?
Joe Johnson.
I got that yesterday
I
on
don't
my
think Joe
show.
Johnson can get out of his Big 3 contract in time to come be the head coach at Arkansas, but we'll see. We'll look into it for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, yeah, just find a former great player and just, yeah, thank you, coach.
Dusty Hannes, he want to coach?
I know, you see his tweet?
What'd he say?
He tagged Chris Beard. He's like,
Let's make it
let's
work.
make it work. Let's make it happen.
yeah. I saw Mason Jones has been all over the Gus Archibald train, and we want to talk about friends of the program. Like, hey, listen, count me in, sign me up for Gus, man. But in all honesty, he's on the right trajectory to eventually get a high major job. Like he dropped down back into the head coach ranks. He took his team to the Final Four in the first year. He's interviewed for multiple D1 mid-major jobs this offseason. It's just a matter of time before he gets one. But one to keep on the radar for the future. Hell yeah, man. He's young.
for sure.
And I think he's improved a lot. He's grown a lot. And people here freaking love him.
Let
And
him
so
go
we,
do his
so.
his Jeff Trailer impression for a few years, and then we'll check in.
Exactly. I mean, I'm just saying,
I would love it if the timing ain't right now, but like if you told me that Gus Archibald was going to be Arkansas's head coach in the next 5 years or so, and because he was killing it in some other program, I'd be all about it. Like, I think he'd be great. But I mean, I don't know. Like I'm excited about because anytime there's a change, whether it's good or bad, it's still like there's an element of excitement and new energy, and there's always going to be that. But I think everyone, and that's how I feel too. It's like it's Chris. It's like it's got to be Chris Beard, man. It's got to be Chris Beard. If it's not Chris Beard, then
No, it's got to be Darrell Walker, bro. It's
like,
got
that's
to
what
be.
I'm saying. Like, stop. Can we? Okay, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna talk about this. I'm gonna talk about this right now, folks. There is zero reason to ever feel like you have to have an Arkansas guy as your coach. There is zero reason for that. So all these ideas of bringing back these players or these coaches or whatever, yes, it'd be a wonderful story. But the best coaches in every sport, essentially, that's ever existed at the University of Arkansas
We
did
got
not
Adam
have
Schefter.
Arkansas.
We got Adam Schefter taking the calls.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah, we'll get some updates.
think,
By the way, Channel 5's coming to film me too here in a bit, so I may have to dip over somewhere. And all that,
Good
so.
stuff.
Yeah.
Scotty Thurman, I think he doesn't have an out in his Parkview contract, so I think
Yeah,
he's stuck
I don't
there
know
for
if they
2
get the
more
buyout
years.
there for Parkview.
Yeah.
But still, that's the thing. Is like, don't the Arkansas connections, folks. Stop. Just get the best coach available. I do not care if they love the Hogs. Like, just get the best coach out there, because you know what makes me love the Hogs? Winning.
Yeah.
That's what makes me love the Hogs. And if the guy doesn't come in and sound like somebody from Arkansas, maybe he doesn't do the hog call perfectly. Hopefully he does it better than Dane Altman did his first time around. But all those things, just get the best coach. I don't care what the connection is. Just get the best coach. But it just drives me up a wall when people are always about throwing these names of players and all that. It's like, yeah, great story, but no. Nolan Richardson I don't even know if Nolan Richardson been to Arkansas before he came to university.
That's what I was about to say. Where's he from?
All of the
He's from
even Frank
El
Royals wasn't an
Paso.
Arkansas guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, Frank Broyles wasn't, Lou Holtz wasn't, Eddie Sutton wasn't, Norm DeBryan wasn't. Like, I mean, it's like John McDonald. Like, I mean, come on. Like, you're talking about just in every sport, the best coaches never had that connection. Courtney Dievel's doing great.
Even Dave Van Horn only, I mean, he played one season at Arkansas out at JUCO. It wasn't like he was a born and raised hog.
He's born in California.
Yeah, Sam Pittman is always like, I grew up in Grove, Oklahoma, so I'm pretty much a hog. It's like, wait, what?
I was like, I guess if maybe it was Boutland, that was Indian territory, and he could.
A lot of people correctly pointing out that Curtis does have head coaching experience at the collegiate level.
I would like to
Lindenwood is now a D1 school, so basically Curtis is a D1
throw
coach.
Curtis into the mix.
I think so. I'll be his
SID. I don't even need an assistant job. Just let me. Hey Curtis, we're throwing your name into the ring for the job. I'm willing to be an SID.
I like that.
If you don't want me on your bench.
I'd say all three of us can be SIDs.
I mean, I'm a slightly below 500 NAIA coach, so I think I'm qualified for the gig there.
I think that comes together. Is there something you can share? Or is it not something else?
Well, I mean, I just heard from someone who's, no longer, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And so that's,
Bid farewell to you?
well, yeah.
Are they doing okay though?
Yeah. I mean, everybody's going to be fine. And it is sad because there's a human element to it. Like when you think about millions of dollars are involved and everything, you think about Muss and stuff, and it's like, whatever, he'll be fine. The program will be fine. But there are a lot of guys who are integral to the operation that aren't as highly paid, but they work their ass off. Yeah. You know what I mean? They put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the program and a ton of hours, and they sacrifice, family time and personal life and everything else. And this is a really tough spot for a lot of those guys to be in. Some of them are going to go with Muss to USC. Some of them are going to be able to stay here in some capacity, at least until they hire someone else, and we'll see what that looks like. And other guys are all over the phones right now trying to find a job and try to find the next stop.
Well, I'm gonna throw it out there. If any of these individuals that you were referring to, if you need a gig, we might be able to squeeze you in here at Natty State. Just saying, like we could find something for you.
They got another seat on the intern podcast.
That's true. We do have another chair available. We do have a basketball goal in here, somewhat. So you could help us out with that too.
How about intern Landon getting a drop on the early in the stream? Good stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, it made sense though. It's just like
what happened when men
man to man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like instead of just playing passive aggressive public soap opera on Twitter, like just
and that's what's
real.
real.
Have a conversation and. That's why Curtis was like, he kind of made a joke the other night about just like lock them in the bus until it gets resolved. Like that's kind of the not like lock them in a bus, but just like get in the same room and sit and talk and see if you can come to some kind of a resolution.
Yeah, I think that there's nothing. It's always worse when the longer gets drug out. Like if there's just a clean cut, like if the SEC tournament would have ended or the season would have ended, and USC's job was open and like the next day Muss took it and it was announced. Like I said, people would be upset. But at least would be, like it would just be such a cleaner cut thing that where people could move on quicker. But when you drag it out like it did, and there was this constant like, hey, what's this video mean? Oh, what's this tweet? Well, here's what I'm hearing. Well, here's what's been said by them. Everyone just gets fed up and pissed off. And they're like, we don't care anymore. Just get over with and move on so we can get out of here. So I can't stand that social media aspect and just they're not handling it the way it needs to be handled. It was poor on everybody's part.
Man, that phone call really shook me because, like I said, I mean, we're just a couple hours removed from people, and these weren't guys bullshitting me, like there were people over there who legitimately weren't 100% sure of what was going on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's not like another thing is it's not like he's going to take the entire coaching staff to USC. It's going to be some guys might obviously Keith Smart. We know he might go to Fresno State. We might do whatever, but it's like it's not as simple as just now we all work for USC. It's like their futures are very much up in limbo, and they kind of got to figure out some stuff. Got to have some conversations. It's like it's wild, man.
Yeah. Oh man. I've seen the name Chris Beard like in my text messages and DMs. It just like. Yeah, you got to be 200 times in the last however long we've been.
That's the way we all need to be thinking, and we'll just see if it works out. But I think that's objective number one: is make Chris Beard say no or yes. but make him say something, you know.
Well, see,
I don't want to read a report in 2 years that's like, Chris Beard was actually really interested in the Arkansas job. If it had gone, I want them to go ahead and go all after Chris Beard, and if he says no, you move on.
well, here's the thing. As I've been reporting for the last 18 hours, all right, Chris Beard was in the state of Arkansas yesterday, and he may still be. I know that for a fact. My sources have told me. So if it ends up being Chris Beard, and if that's all coming to fruition, then it'll be a quick announcement. And if it's as simple as that, it never is. I have no reason to believe that it's going to just be fine, and we won't be sitting here on Monday wanting to jump off the 6th floor building balcony here. It's just not going to be that case.
Can I please read this tweet?
Oh my gosh, please, dude! I swear, am I going to get mad about it?
Yes, you are going to get mad. This is a tweet. I'm not going to say who it was from. I'm just going to say it's from an outlet. They said, source within the University of Arkansas has confirmed with unnamed person that the source was informed internally Musselman's departure to USC. That was a sentence right there.
That's a mouthful.
That's a sentence, man.
That is a mouthful. But
I hate everyone. I hate everyone. Anyway,
The source was informed that the source was informed internally must USC.
well,
So suck on that.
wasn't that the Ferris Bueller line? It was just like that. So and so, my cousins, my sisters, whatever. It's like saw Ferris Bueller pass out 31 flavors last night. I guess it's pretty serious.
I think
like that's kind of the.
she's
vibe.
not my cousin. Her mother was the sister of my father, not my cousin.
Oh gosh. Oh, so please, and that's another thing I want the coaching hire to get done quickly is because there's only so much of nonsense that can be handled by the threshold of patience. So
Y'all think Lawson Blake is sticking around?
I hope so. Hey, if he does, I think that'd be a great interview that we could set up.
I mean,
Like
I
during
think
the
it's
off
always
season.
a good interview, honestly.
Yeah.
Welcome to
set him
the
up.
SEC.
Man, that's the thing that sucks is I'm gonna have to change you. I mean, you guys are gonna have to change Pod at the Palace imaging in your intro.
yeah, we gotta get
really
we gotta
are.
get Muss off of
Yeah,
that.
I gotta change mine too.
Yeah.
Thank God Sam
sad.
Pittman's going to stay employed at Arkansas forever, so we'll always have pot of that nature.
That's right. Thank goodness. Yeah.
I think that's eventually going to get to a point that no matter who the coach is, people are like not going to let us change it.
Yeah, no, 100%.
That's the goal. That is the goal. So, but yeah, I guess now it's just a matter of playing the waiting game to find out who.
I do want to say this, though. I see a lot of people like really upset about like, oh, Muss left the roster, flushed, and, there's nobody here and all this. It's not like this is 1974. I mean, it's still hard to build a roster, and like y'all have talked about, they're gonna have to build it in a very short amount of time. But I feel like that's, especially with basketball, not as big of a factor. Like if Muss stayed, he was gonna have to rebuild the whole roster as well. Like you had a lot of work to do regardless. And like we were talking about earlier, you only had one incoming transfer committed. So it's like, yeah, maybe you lose Cohen here, but it's like there was gonna be a lot of work to do regardless of who the head coach was or when this announcement went down or whatever happened. It must have just stayed,
Yeah, for sure.
It's going to be a fascinating, however long, 6 weeks until they, obviously the
So
coach.
the roster's built.
Yeah, it's just going to be like watching the coach navigate the PR and the roster. It's just going to be awesome. Guys, what beer do y'all think Chris Beard is going to want whenever he comes by Natty State HQ?
Natty. Well, no, he's a Texas guy. So what is that? Miller? Is Miller Texas?
Miller.
So yeah, it's
Lone Star.
I bet
Yeah.
he likes a good shiner.
I could see that.
Shiner.
Well, here's the thing. Tito's vodka, based out of Austin, Texas. So we'll at least have his vodka choice up here. So how Razorback fans going to feel about hiring a Longhorn as their head coach?
Well, at least it was a Longhorn that got fired for disgraceful reasons.
True. But did Chris Beard go to Texas, or is he just from Texas?
Texas is his alma mater,
Okay.
and he was a GA at Texas.
So, I mean, yeah, so he was like a legit Longhorn, and that's going to be interesting. So let's just, listen, we're just talking about nonsense. Chris Beard comes here, he's the head coach. Do you think he leaves or would leave if he has a high level of success to another job?
From Arkansas?
Like, yeah, but I know it depends. Like, if it's like Duke, but like,
I don't
would he go
think-
back to a Texas school? If A&M opened up, would he go to A&M?
I don't think he
I
would
don't
go
think
back
so.
to a Texas school,
Yeah.
especially because like I don't think he would go back to Texas. And so if he's going to go back to Texas, I don't see it.
So,
But I mean, I'm basing that off of legitimately nothing.
Right.
But
right.
I feel like, I mean, like we talked about how stunning, like the most stunning part about this is no matter how flaky Muss felt, it's still weird and jarring to see a coach leave Arkansas willingly. I don't think that's going to happen for a long time.
I mean, it was weird. Like I kept thinking earlier when we saw the Rothstein tweet pop, I just started thinking back to, the last few minutes of, I guess, the Mike Anderson tenure, right? Like people were, fed up after a bad season. And then we really find out that players are, they're basically live tweeting the meeting that, they had with Mike, and they were like, oh, hey, you got what you wanted. This was like the exact opposite. Like there was kind of, there were rumors out there, but there was nothing concrete until, the Rothstein tweet, and then the Norlander got on it. It's just, I don't know. It's strange, man.
So-
We're back here again.
As far as timeline goes, I know that you want to coach hire as quickly as possible, but like at what point in time does it start getting into the danger zone of like, oh no, they don't have is it like 3 days? Is it like
I
5
would
days?
say a week. If a week from now Arkansas does not have a head coach, it's pretty much a disaster. Because by that point, you're really
Yeah.
going to see portal pops of good bits. Teams are going to be really starting to fill out their rosters. And I don't know how Arkansas would be gaining additions, in that time period. If it's next Thursday and Arkansas doesn't have a head coach, I'd be like, that's a disaster.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking like if it's Wednesday, like Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yeah, that
and we
would-
haven't heard a peep, then I'm
Yeah.
I'm getting concerned because that almost never works out for anybody involved.
As crazy as it sounds like, I mean, I see J. Tom says it needs to be done by Monday. I think that's actually not an unrealistic
No,
timeline.
I don't think so.
at all. Because those reasons, what day does the portal close? It's like the end of April, right?
I think Curtis said the other day it's May 1st.
May 1st. So yeah, so like literally by the time a coach would get here on campus, he'd have about 3 weeks to really do something.
Yeah,
You need every day you can. So yeah, I mean, and for all you people that seem to think that Hunter Yurchek, this is a master plan of his shoving Muss out of town, then it really shouldn't take that long. Who knows?
Well, I could get it if it was like a shock and it's like, oh my gosh, what? He's gone.
Right.
Like
But
your
this
check's known about this for a minute, so you.
That's why I really do
Yeah.
think by the end of the weekend, there's got to be
Yeah,
at least some type of movement in
Yeah.
where it's like, hey, they're going this direction or this direction. And I bet in the next 24 hours, we'll have a much more definitive idea of what's going to happen. You can usually start ruling out ideas
Right.
pretty quickly,
So let me. I'm sure you guys have done this, but Chris Beard has a $3.5 million buyout. Is that somewhere around that?
I don't know.
Okay, so the only reason I'm bringing that up is because now Muss leaving, Arkansas's owed $2 million, right? And that wasn't the contract for his buyout.
I thought it was only one. I thought it just went down to one.
Okay, maybe it's $2 million if it was like at last season. It was something like that. Well,
I think in the last few days.
Okay, well the only reason I was,
April 1st it dropped.
That's
oh,
right, yeah.
okay, so all right, in that case, I was about to say if it was still the case of
Just an even trade.
yeah, but pretty close. So people were like, what about the buyout and extension? It's like, well, they're owed that, but still, hey, if it's $1 million, that's still more
Yeah.
than none. So I'm telling you, there is a few, if not one, booster / donor that I know for a fact is in cahoots with, or at least good with Beard, that they'd be like, yeah, I'll front some dough, front some cash money for that, straight cash, homie. Try to make that happen. So
More
yeah.
scoops from Curtis.
Back again.
yeah,
Chris Beard, your new coach. It's just buckle up.
clip it.
Buckle up.
Okay.
First reported by Curtis Wilkerson.
Well, not first reported by me. I mean, it's been kind of the
He's been
popular
reporting it for
emphasis,
weeks.
Yeah,
but
we've been reporting it for weeks.
that's
Y'all said by the end
sound
of the weekend, by the end of the damn stream, we got a head coach.
What about that?
Hey, change the bottom line. Chris Beard.
It sounded just a real quick canvas in that. Chris Beard hired as head coach. Excellent.
it's pointing in that direction and
people-
moving fast.
Okay, well, people want to know what's the terms of the deal in the chat. So, Curtis, what do you got for us? What's
Okay,
the years and
relax.
the money?
Yeah. Now his
What's the
buyout.
buyout?
Now Muss's buyout just went down to one, right? 1 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you know about Chris Beard's buyout? Anything?
I don't know.
Okay.
It depends on if he actually signed that extension or
What was
not.
that number you said? 3.5?
I thought I saw and read somewhere, but
I mean,
you know,
I know
reading
it sounds
that.
stupid for people with not no money to say this, but like 3.5 million, especially if you're gonna get $1 million from us or whatever, it's like really not gonna like make or break this situation. I wouldn't imagine, especially if like they actually have Chris Beard wanting to be the head coach. It's like if it were a $15 million buyout, sure, but it's like a couple million if you have your guy and you know what it is, and like we talked about the pressure that Hunter Yurachek has on him. If they shortchanged it and we're like counting their pennies and we're like we can't buy out Chris Beard, so we'll just take Jerome Tang, like that would be disastrous. You need a big splash, and Chris Beard is a big splash.
Yeah.
Biggest of splashes.
Yeah. So, hopefully that pans
Dude.
out.
I mean, dude, like what's crazy is like Chris Beard's a better coach than Eric Musselman.
Dude, as you know,
Probably
I mean,
so.
yeah.
Like obviously it's close. Like you can make your
Yeah,
argument
both are
on
really
that.
good coaches.
But it's like
Yes.
it's crazy that it's even in like that Arkansas could come away from this weekend having a better situation with their basketball program. You could make an argument.
Yeah, no, they absolutely could.
Like isn't
They
that kind
absolutely
of
could.
crazy? Like I tell you what, that Hunter Yurachek, man, he's a sly dog. So
Very
okay,
much so.
everybody keeps asking about the Ole
So-
Miss extension. Obviously, none of us know. We're not there. We don't know what Chris Beard did and did do. But it's like everybody seems to be pointing to the idea that that was an agreed upon extension and not.
But here's the
It's
thing:
because of the language in the
nobody
release.
knows.
That's what I'm saying. It's like nobody knows. So it's like, well, we can tell you what we're hearing, which is the same shit you're hearing. But it's like everybody does seem to be thinking that that was a foolproof extension, right? Or a fool's gold extension, not to be confused with foolproof, which means the exact opposite of fool's gold. Get someone who wants to be the head hog.
Yeah.
I would say that's a great criteria, Jerome.
Yeah. Oh man, I need to put a bullet point for wants to be
a hog.
or not.
Nah, do they want to be a hog?
Yeah, John, what you're referring to is everybody started talking about that in the last week or so, and so then somebody on Twitter was like decided to run with it. Maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong, but everybody was hearing the same thing that you heard, basically.
And so, yeah. At any rate,
But that doesn't mean it's real. It's just one of those things that was a thing that everybody was saying. But who knows? I guess we'll find out real quick, huh?
yeah. But like I was saying earlier, my phone's been blowing up with Chris Beard stuff, and the phone call I just got is from somebody that I really, really trust. It says it would be pretty shocking if that doesn't happen at this point. So I trust that. But I will say, maybe just a slight pat on the back to ourselves for the hot board that we have behind us, because Norlander put out his list. Other potential high major names for Arkansas: Buzz Williams on there, Jerome Tang on there, Chris Jans on there. Two guys from mid-major leagues that could get looks: Will Wade, Bucky McMillan. So not too shabby,
for five.
not too shabby.
Fuck it.
Okay, we'll take that. And so why did I put Grant McCaslin on there? Well, he coached Arkansas State.
Hey, this guy wants to know why does everybody like Beard?
He's a
because
hell of a coach.
one of the best coaches in the country, hands down.
Yeah, he wins.
what he did at Arkansas, at University of Arkansas Little Rock, was very impressive.
Listen,
what he did at Texas Tech, very impressive. The way he had that Texas program up and running right away, very impressive.
You know this
What he did at
narrative-
Ole Miss last year, very impressive. Like, what are you talking about?
You
Why
know
do we
this
like it?
narrative that Purdue basketball has at the moment about, falling to double-digit seeds in the NCAA tournament? Chris Beard contributed to that.
Yeah.
He also took a program in freaking Lubbock, Texas, to the national championship game year after taking
With Jarrett Culver, who sucks. He got Jarrett Culver drafted fourth overall.
Like back-to-back years, went to an Elite Eight in Lubbock, Texas, and then went to a national championship game.
Did anyone
with
else
Texas
just see
Tech.
John?
What happened?
John
Take
just
his shirt off
just
and-
changed clothes in front of us and then went and answered the door.
What just happened?
News Channel 5 is coming to film him for something.
Oh, okay. Is that true?
Yes, no, yeah, actually.
Okay, that just completely threw me off. I had no idea. That just,
All I saw was a flash, and
yeah, like an actual flash.
But look,
Nips and everything. So
I'm just going to read what's on Beard's bio on the board. He's won 191 games, lost 85 in 9 seasons. He's 51, 6 NCAA tournaments in 9 seasons. Nice. 1 Final Four, AP National Coach of the Year in 2019, 2-time Big 12 Coach of the Year. Like it is. There's so many good coaches in the Big 12, dude.
He's still young.
There are so many good coaches in the Big 12, and he won that back-to-back years,
Yeah.
I believe, 2018, 2019. When you mentioned he carried Jarrett
Jarrett
Culver to
Culver,
a
yeah.
Final Four.
The Arkansas beat that team that year. You remember? It was like Muss's first year at Arkansas, or maybe it was Anderson's last year.
I think it was Anderson.
Anderson's last year, but Arkansas somehow beat that Texas Tech team because they were not very good. But they get to the NCAA tournament and they're holding dudes to 43 points, man. Defensively, I would say Chris Beard is a top 2, 3, 4 coach in college basketball. Big time.
I mean, he's got when he had it really cooking at Texas Tech, you're talking about a program that had the number 1 defensive efficiency nationally. The next year it was top 10. The next year it was top 20. His first year at Texas, it was top 15. Like it's a defense. It's a guy that's going to build a roster around toughness and guys that are just dogs and want it. That's been his persona. Like he was doing that at UALR with Ashton Hagens. You remember him?
Yeah.
I mean, that kid, it's just tough as nails guys. That's what I feel like Beard would bring if he comes here. No doubt about it.
Shout out to the Discord, which is popping in the chat. Everybody from the Dixon Street Discord, which is popping.
Good people
Good
over
stuff
there.
at Dixon
Our
Street
folks.
Discord.
Yeah.
I forget who it was that said it earlier. That game thread is going to be popping tonight for the baseball game because there is still baseball being played tonight, which is why I can really appreciate Eric Musselman for getting this done in the afternoon.
Yeah,
It was
no,
big time.
that was clutch. We were just talking about it because it's like, well, what's the point in recording a pot at the palace when we know this is coming? So
Yeah.
then we were just kind of like, well, I guess I'm John show at 4:00. I'll just go on it if nothing has happened. I ain't
Is
doing
someone
that.
holding
now.
y'all at gunpoint at the Discord? Is Scantron in there
All right,
just
listen,
like, what's
speaking
going
of the
on?
Discord,
bro?
I'm still on the outside looking in on that. It's cool. It's okay.
You're not in the Discord.
I'm not in there.
You referenced the Discord yesterday, and I was like, oh,
Talk about a
damn.
different Discord.
I realized that now, but I remember thinking yesterday, I was like, oh,
Hey, you
Scotty,
gotta be in there,
Harrison.
man. That's crazy.
I'll send you a link right now, actually.
Yeah, we got it.
No, I'm not.
No, but
not
seriously,
gonna
it's,
get
I
in
mean,
the
you know,
club.
No, you need to be in there.
it's the
people need to hear
unofficial
from you,
Discord of
so-
Natty State Sports, many are saying.
Oh man. Okay. I saw a couple things in chat I wanted to get to real quick.
Let's
So
do it.
Greg says not enough money to lure Jay Wright to get out of the CBS studio. Says NWA might not be Jay Wright's cup of tea,
I
but
think
what
Jay
a
Wright is
high-profile
gonna be
coach.
chilling.
He's an incredible coach. You're right. A little bit different. I mean, he was Hofstra and Villanova, but he ain't built for college basketball as it is today, and that's why he retired early.
What I was also about to say, do you really want to get the coach who is not doing anything right now and you have to convince him like, oh, no, this is a great idea. This will be whatever. And then, yeah, maybe you pay him the money he needs or whatever, but it's like you're not getting Jay Wright, who's like at the peak of his powers, super motivated, ready to like prove. And now maybe you could talk him into that, but it's like, I think,
Yeah.
yeah, going and paying for a big name is cool, but those moves work out a lot less than it seems.
Right.
You
And
know?
he is also he's almost like Tony Bennett over at Virginia, where he recruits guys, gets them in the program, develops them, and then in 3 or 4 years they're awesome. And he sustains a program and a culture. He ain't a portal guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how well that
Grow
would
up,
work
bozo.
here.
We're
know.
playing portal ball over here.
Yeah, we are. We are. playing
Someone,
portal.
Arkansas says Trevor Brazil coming back. Is that a report?
I don't know.
I
What is this?
love sharing the link that we cannot access.
Somebody tell me what that tweet says.
Chris Hoops 247. Chris Hoops will. I'll pull it up real quick.
I don't know about TV. I mean, I haven't looked at my
There's nothing on Instagram.
at my phone. Okay.
24/7. Chris Hoops. He says Jerome Tang and his wife are flying from Manhattan to Fayetteville tonight for the official announcement that he will be the next head coach at Arkansas. Per John. Yeah, no, this is not real. This is some absolute.
That's a 5-follower account, y'all.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Also, he cited John Rothstein in this, which is like,
Well, it got somebody else again.
got him.
Got
Thank
him.
God the link didn't work on here.
Did I read right that Jerome Tang has 7 kids, or is it 7 grandkids?
I don't know.
I don't know, but 7
Right.
kids, that's
That's it.
that's halfway to a Phil Rivers.
Somebody's got. Oh yeah, what's his situation up to now?
I think
personal
he's
life.
12 or 13.
This is according to Wikipedia, so take it for what it's worth. Tang is married with a son and a daughter.
Okay.
That son and a daughter have been reproducing like anybody's.
Hey,
That
my
is not
bad.
7.
My bad.
Yeah, Greg wants to know if Beard would stay 6 jobs in 9 years. It is worth noting that a lot of those were just upward mobility, like going from UALR to Texas Tech and then from Texas Tech to Texas. I feel like that's just kind of upward mobility. And then, Grid, while you're on his Wikipedia page, you should look into why he is no longer the head coach at Texas. And so, yeah, and then now he's at Ole Miss for a year. And Arkansas is, again, back on that upward mobility. Fair question. I mean, look, as we were talking about Muss earlier, nobody in the year of our Lord 2024 should ever hire a head coach and be like, this guy is a hog for life. He's never leaving. Like, obviously, you want to get a coach that's in for the long haul, but I don't think anyone's expectation should ever be like, oh, it's just these people always want to stay no matter what. Like, you know, as 3 people on this panel who just left our other jobs for a different job, it's like if you're a successful person in the world that really wants to take a certain route in life, you kind of have to advance upwards. So there's a lot of these guys who, you know, for better or for worse, make a living on advancing and moving their families and doing whatever. And so I think that's definitely always going to be a concern, but I don't think it should scare you away from hiring the best guy you could hire, which is Chris Beard.
It was a fake Trevor Brazil account, by the way, because he got rid of his Twitter or whatever, but I got followed earlier by, and it's the same like handle
It
pretty
was the
much.
same graphic that he put out last year when he came back. I saw
Yeah.
it instantly and was like, this is a little bit
Followed me, and I was like, "That's weird." Did he get his Twitter back? And I looked at it, and I was like, "Oh,
There's
this
nothing
is
on
a
Instagram.
fake."
That's where
Yeah,
he
so
would
some
put it
people
first
got
on
on
Instagram.
that one.
Speaking of TVs,
Josh Cohen just tweeted the eyeball emojis.
Oh boy.
Speaking of TBs, I'm glad that the other TB has stopped saying that Eric Musselman is going to be the head coach at Arkansas forever, like he was saying 3 days ago. Since you idiots want to cite that boy in the chat,
What's going through Josh Cohen's mind?
I think he's probably
I don't know, but I'm about to shoot him a message.
ask him.
I mean,
Hey,
he just tweeted the eyeball.
If you're
emojis.
listening,
Send him a link to the stream.
yeah, tap in, bro.
You want the Nike hoodie, J Top? You want it? Take it. Take it. Take it.
What are you doing?
They asked for my hoodie. I gave it to him.
It's completely messy. That was
Shouting
wild.
off that Manscaped too.
I think we've gone about 30 seconds too long on the stream.
Does it say my balls are your balls will thank you back here?
It does say that.
Let's go. Is Beard still in Fayetteville? What if Beard got on the bus with HY asking if he needed a driver? Hey, I will say this. That kind of reminds me. I cannot wait for the first Eric Musselman bit video he does at USC, whether it's like he's on the beach or he's like doing something. Because you know his social media content is about to go through the roof. It's be interesting.
I'm trying to get caught up here.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Um,
Duckling says Cohen changed all his profile picture and it's no longer hog stuff.
well, yeah, I mean,
It's still
about
there. It's
right.
still there on Instagram, but yeah.
Yeah, he'll get to the Insta later. Alan Flanagan got any eligibility left, boys?
this is a little frustrating because Cohen, like, he was going to come on the show this week. Like, he was all set.
Yeah.
We had it ready to rock, and then all this stuff started popping off, and I just didn't feel I didn't feel comfortable bringing him
Oh,
on.
sure. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
So that would have been fun. We'll get the new guys whenever that happens.
Yes, Willie Buckets, Caleb Battle, hit the
Yeah.
portal, Rothstein. Put it out. You can read about
He
it.
told
at
John Rothstein.
NattyStateSports.com.
I love that John Rothstein fired off that Insta DM and got a response.
I saw somebody ask about the 2 freshman recruits. I would anticipate Isaiah Elohim would either go with Muss to USC or reopen his recruitment. Although there were some rumblings anyway that he might be opening his recruitment back up before all this happened. So I don't know exactly what that would look like. Shelley, you probably have a better chance of keeping depending on who the coach is. Texas guy in Branson at Link Academy, so there's a lot of regionality there. He loves the campus. I mean, he came to several games over the course of the season, so
Did he
you
come
might
to
be
see
able
his
to talk
brother
him
play
into
football?
staying. I don't know. Yeah, he did actually. You might be able to talk him into staying, depending on who the coach is. But I don't know. Somebody else asked about.
This guy says we need to let Muss go and move on. I got good news for you, DJ KPB. He's gone. He's gone. Mallory Bordelon reporting that Scotty and her are now USC fans.
That's wild.
That's crazy, Scotty.
I know why.
Up on us.
I know why that's the case. That's all I'm saying.
Mal trying to move to the West Coast. That's crazy.
She's speaking for me. You know, we've had some conversations in this office about people speaking for other people.
Yeah. Yep.
She's not speaking for me right now. I'm not going to be a USC basketball fan.
I like that.
I'm going to bet against
Thank you for
USC.
going on the record with that. I appreciate it.
I will bet against USC every single time I'm presented with an opportunity to do so. I will bet against those cats every single time.
For people wondering where Neighbors is, he is doing an interview with a local television station.
Yeah.
Which he apparently forgot about until about 5 minutes before it happened.
Yeah.
Which, very relatable. How many times have y'all forgotten that you had like a radio call or something like that?
Every Wednesday. I'm really bad about that.
What about Devo and Layden?
Fair questions. I think both are fair game for potential return.
Oh, dude, Beard and Devo. Beard would get the most out of Devo. Whatever the most is.
Defensive player of the year.
Devo POI.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule out either one of those things, especially if it's Beard. But then also like with Blocker, even if you wind up with Tang, like he's strongly considered going to Kansas State. Like he took an official visit there. They were a finalist for him. So, and I think there's also a reason with Blocker, like he hit the portal and then what? What have we heard?
Yeah.
There hasn't been a list of suitors, no visits set up,
Yeah,
nothing.
true.
I think he's really been kind of waiting this out
Yeah.
to see how it plays out.
I like that.
And because I think he loves it at Arkansas.
Joseph Pinion ain't walking through that door.
No, I
Joseph
think,
Pinion ain't walking through that door.
I think he's all set at.
That's a wild name for the
Arkansas State.
Patino game.
Yeah, and somebody said there that where we at? Ole Miss is one of Debo's schools. Yeah, that's true.
That is true,
So
yes.
they have reached out to him.
Yeah, we
contacted
were
him,
doing
so.
a cross reference.
I got a text from Ole Miss folks last week. You didn't know I'm in the basketball scoop game, did you, Curtis? But I was getting texts from Ole Miss folks last week. What's the scoop on Devo? And I said, hey, he's a great lad. College coaches called me personally to ask about Devo.
You just
dude.
you take shots.
Yeah, but we're an hour and a half in. Like, this is stuff that, hopefully, I can count on everyone in this chat to be cool and not clip it out, right? I'm just kidding.
What does this mean?
Did Curtis just make a conform joke? Conform?
What does that mean? Did I do that?
What is that?
Jeremy Wilson, we need you to elaborate. What is...
I may have done that without realizing that I did it. I don't know what that means.
Okay, Trilly is reporting that he says the expectation is that Cohen will just follow
Follow
SC.
Cool.
Good for him.
He's a bum anyway. I'm just kidding. That's a joke. Like I said, you can only lose one. If you only bring in one transfer, you can only lose one transfer.
Yeah, that
I
checks out.
will never forget the Josh Cohen era at Arkansas, though.
I really did like him. When we talked to him, I thought he was like, we talked about this on the pod at the Palace, obviously, but a kid that was like, he clearly thinks everything through. And I want to say the word calculated, but not in any kind of negative way. Like you just kind of knew that he told us this. He was like, I can't give these coaches a fair assessment of where I'm at until I go on this visit and this visit. And then, there's some schools that I might visit, might not visit. He went on 2 visits, and Arkansas at the time made a really good first impression. And but he was like, when we were talking to him, he was like, you commit to Arkansas. Why would you commit to Arkansas? And he said, must. So must made a big impression on him. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier.
That's crazy. Curtis, apparently you made a condom joke about Scotty being a USC fan.
I did.
What was the condom joke?
If you didn't hear it.
I saw Mark ask.
My bad.
I saw Mark ask my opinion on Louisiana Tech. I got beef with Louisiana Tech because they messed up my boy John Toops' brick. He finally went back to campus the other day to see his little brick they put his name on, They misspelled his name. His name's John Toups, Toups. They put Josh Toupees. And then didn't apologize for it. He called him out, and they just liked the tweet. So we're anti-Bulldog for the time being, but yeah, I had good times in Ruston.
Oh, maybe you said me and Mal are Trojan fans.
Oh, yeah, Trojan. Okay, yeah.
Have we covered?
We'll give Curtis credit for that great joke he made.
Have we covered this from all angles?
I think so. So I guess we'll just do this again whenever the beard announcement is official. So tomorrow, same time tomorrow, we good?
This dude is unfiltered as fuck. It's unreal.
Wright or beard? Jay Wright. Guys, let Jay Wright just live his life in peace, bro. He's not even. I have heard nothing that would like. I don't even know if he wants to coach again. Does he?
I don't think so. I really don't
Oh, so
think so.
apparently you said you know why Scotty is a USC fan now, and he thought you were making like a Trojan condom joke.
Oh, no, I wasn't, but, you know, if the shoe fits
Scotty doesn't like having some condoms.
or the rubber.
Yeah, if the rubber fits. I ain't never had one that fit. That's why I don't.
All right,
mess with
same
that.
sports show, same sports channel tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone.
Maybe
Yeah,
John will
We
do a
will
show. Who
see you
knows?
then.
By the way, Beards players, recruits, yeah, I mean, we'll get to that.
So I was
All in
trying
due
to say
time.
this earlier.
Prodigal son, Alan Flanagan. Does he have any eligibility left, or is he
No,
done?
he's done.
Okay. Damn. I was looking forward to that.
What were you saying, Sky?
Yesterday, there's a board over there with 69 names on it. And we were cross-referencing to see which guys that Arkansas had contacted had also been contacted by Chris Beard. And I think there were 20 plus that were matches, including guys like, was it Darlingstone Dubar?
Yeah,
Guys like, I mean,
Malik Dia.
Malik Dia, Tony Perkins,
Dubar is the sexy red fan.
Terrace Reed, Myron Amy. Let's see, Mikhail Brown Jones, Deshane Montgomery, guys like that. Arkansas and Ole Miss had both contacted guys, those fellas in the portal. So
Yeah, we'll definitely dive into all that, especially if and when the Chris Beard stuff becomes official here. We got to save some material. It's like we said the other day, like we got to have something to talk about.
Tune in
the
next
couple
week to
days.
see what happens.
I think the John Neighbor show is happening at 4.
I don't think it is actually.
We might do this all over again.
I don't think it's happening. I think this is the John Neighbor show.
I don't think you know.
No, he said earlier, he was like, we might just do this as my show, and it's been 2 hours.
I don't know.
But he did film an interview with Tyler Spoon, so you're probably getting that.
Yeah.
this plus the Spoon interview, 2 hours. Call it a day.
I love it. I don't throw the Spoon interview at the end of it.
We're eventually going to get to the Eric Musselman topic first.
First, Bank of Fayetteville.
Shout out to one of our sponsors.
Bro, what is going on with the Discord? Did somebody put like a gun in the Discord and was like, go chill? There was like 19 comments in a row that was like, I'm here because of Discord. We love the Discord, but chill out.
Are we done here?
Yep.
I think we're done here, right?
Appreciate y'all.
It was a great
Yeah,
run.
appreciate
This is a lot of fun. And hey, we'll, like I said, next time there's breaking news of this magnitude, we will be back here. We go ahead and click end.
Yeah, go ahead and end it.
3, 2, 1.